Well, hey guys, we're back out here in the shop again, and yeah, this was going to be the next project. Well, let's go ahead and start tearing it open. We'll see what we got inside. This is that new HM-01 engine, and yeah, I ordered this one in the kit form. Well, not only we saved a couple bucks, not much, but you know me, we never leave anything just the way it comes out of the kit. Well, we usually take them back apart anyhow, so let's see what we got inside of here. Boxing's nice. Ooh. All right, well, this isn't going to work, guys. I'll leave this, I'll get the camera moved. You guys can see what we're doing. Hey, Michael, thanks, buddy. Told you I'd get it put up. All right, let me get the camera moved. I'll get this stuff out. We'll set it down here on the bench. Get to where we're, well, normally at. A little bit more comfortable. We'll look at it together. We'll see what we can do. Start assembly. We'll go through the instructions and go from there. All right, well, hopefully you guys can see this fair enough. So, all right, this is just how it came out of the box. And there's our crank. Pull it up, you guys can look at it. Seems to be nicely machined. Looks nice. Keyways cut. So far, so good. We'll set that out of the way. Well, that's all that was in this part. We'll open this one up. We've got our cylinder head. Valves are already installed. Intake and exhaust. We have ball bearings, O-rings, screws. It'll be a hardware package. We've got our block with, well, we have our ignition cutout already installed on it. That's nice. The machining looks nice on this also. So far, so good, guys. I don't know. I've seen on other channels that they've worked on these, but I don't know. I like watching those guys, but I have stopped myself and intentionally said, no, I'm not going to watch this because I have my own. I don't want to have a biased opinion, but get rid of that glare. This one is serialized 23022. I ordered this kit when they first came out, before, I mean, that's back when they were nothing more than a drawing. So I guess maybe it's a little bit different than the ones that are completely assembled and ready to run. Not sure, but let's take a look and see what we've got in here. Well, we've got our piston. Yeah, I'm not going to use that, I'm sure. We have an ignition wire and what looks to be a ground wire. Springs. Fairly nice looking little oiler. Carburetor. And probably our bushings to mounting the flywheels. Abrasive paper. So we've got some, looks like 1000 grit wet and dry paper. We have a measuring rod. Yeah. More hardware for our lockout. Looks like governor lockout linkage. Exhaust push rod. Get rid of that. We'll open this one up. Let's see what we've got in here. We've got a very nicely made flywheel. Governor side. We also have another PTO side flywheel. A nicely made PTO pulley. our cam and cam gear. Looks like our other main bearing. Potentially part of our lockout device. Main caps. I'll keep them the way they came out. I've heard stories that these are not machined properly. And then we have our oil cups. We have an exhaust also. Okay. All right. Did you guys notice anything that was missing? Just real quick. Guys, there ain't no instructions. Wonderful. All right. Well, hey, let's get busy building an engine. I'll get you guys pulled in. We can kind of focus right in here, and we'll start going. All right, guys. Hopefully you can see what we got going on here. So, I'm not sure. I know that they do offer instructions for this online, but we're just going to do it freehand. And, well, you guys know anything about me, everything gets subjected to atrocious woodworking. First thing we did, made a very, very, very rudimentary base. Let's get our block mounted to it. And no, we're probably not going to use this, but why are we going to work on the ground? You know, it's just a little bit easier. Let me get this mounted to it, and then we'll get resituated so you guys can see. We're going to start putting this thing back together, or together for the first time. So, and no, we probably aren't going to use this. So don't worry about it. As ugly as it looks, it's going to work just fine for the purpose of what we're doing. Well, there. Looks absolutely terrible. Perfect. Atrocious woodworking complete. Let's tuck these wires in, get them out of the way. And yeah, like I said, guys, I got this one here. I bought it as a kit. I didn't buy the base for it. Didn't buy the ignition system. We've got something that we can obviously make work. And I didn't see any reason to. First things first, let's get this crank in here. And my intentions were to replace these with ball bearings. These are nice looking bushings, guys. I'll grab the other one. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Nicely machined, flanged bronze bushings, or possibly brass. Not 100% certain. But they fit nice. There's no wiggle. There's no, I mean, they're well made. I mean, I'm first impressions, I'm sure, but still, I am impressed. It fits in there nice. A little bit snug, but yeah, just already it's turning nicely. So what we want to make sure is we have, I'll show you, there's holes in these, if it'll focus. You guys see that little hole? We want that facing our oil cup, which will be up here. So that way we know that we are lubricating our main bearings. So we'll get this in here, get these lined up. Here's this one here has 2 holes in it on this side. This one has but 1. That's all right. We'll get these set. Very nice. We got our caps. Get our bushing lined up where our hole is at 12 o'clock. Because that's where our oil cup is going to mount. Is right there at 12 o'clock. So far so good, guys. All right. I'll get this in here lined up. Double check this side. I'll find the hardware. We'll get our crank mounted. We're going to spin it, oil it, and check it out. Okay, we have our main caps mounted. We use the 2.5 by 6 millimeter gently snug these down. We're going to work through it because I've heard that, well, this has been a problem that a lot of folks have ran into. Is they seem that they are not bored straight or the caps don't match. So those are more than plenty tight. And yeah, it is very firm. Very firm. So let's loosen these off a little bit. Still fairly snug. Let's see where we're dragging at. You guys hear that? Okay, well, our main caps are all loose. And now we do have free motion. So we have to figure out why or where these are wanting to bind up. We have no side-to-side motion. We don't want side-to-side motion. A little bit helps, but yeah, you can see as soon as I tighten that up, it wants to get tight. So yeah, that's very firm. All right. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these caps back off. We know this side here is loose, but we still have no play side to side. So let's open this back up. We'll find a piece of stock that is the right diameter. We'll see if it's bored true or if we have an issue with our bushings. I'll get this back apart. So I spent about 10 minutes looking at this. And let's get our other bearing on here. What I did do was this side of the bearing, you can see it's not as shiny as the rest of it. Well, I took 800 grit wet and dry sandpaper. I just faced this down a little bit because we don't want, an eighth of an inch, but we don't want these bearing down tight on the sides of our counterweights. So see, we have just a little bit of play back and forth now. That's good. And I noticed that this wanted to really get stuck where you had to pry to get it out of there. I don't believe that this is not bored straight. If anything, I believe it is bored a little bit low. So we still had the top part of our radius coming around here, down here on our block. So I took a file and just chamfered this edge right here. That's all you needed to do. Break the burr here and break the burr on the inside. We'll get our holes lined up for oiling one more time. We'll put these caps on. We'll give it a little bit of oil. So even just by doing that, we still have our slop, and it turns so much better. I think what we were doing is we were squeezing the top right here, trying to bind them bronze bearings or brass bushings in. So yeah, I'm happy with that little bit of play. That'll be fine. And yeah, I don't think there was a problem at all with it being mismatched when it came to being bored. I think it was bored possibly a little low, or it just didn't have the radius off the top of the holes. Didn't have that off. Let's get our caps put back on. Lose these screws. But yeah, I think that's what it was, guys. Honestly, I've heard stories that all these were put together and ran and then taken apart. I don't think that's true. And, looking at this piston, I don't think it's ever been ran. And that each one of these, I know CNC machining is, where it's at, but you build an engine, you build the parts for that engine. And they may all be right, but you got to account for tool wear and whatnot. So the fact that, they build 1,000 of these caps and they build 500 of these blocks and they just grab two and throw them in, it's possible, guys, but I really don't think that's it. I think it was just, a small oversight. And hell, we all forget to deburr stuff when we get it out. We're in a hurry. So that turns a whole lot better now. All right, well, let's see what we got here, guys. Get this daggone drill out of here. All right, well, I don't know if you guys can see. Very nice. Rod caps are tight. All we did was pretty much lap these in. And you can see the shmoo that was left over from doing it. But our rod caps are tight. It sounds like a lot, but we have, I'm happy with this. So I think we're good, guys. All right. Well, hey, step one after the atrocious woodworking, get all this oil cleaned back off of here. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but yes, they are tight. So we do have our crank mounted. No reason for line boring it. And yeah, it feels fantastic. Just a little bit of deburring, guys. Hell, we all forget. So that's what I found out on these. All right. Hopefully that helps a little bit. I like this, guys. All right. Get focused. Get this cleaned up. We'll keep going. We'll get the piston in. And I don't know. We'll see what comes up next. All right, guys. Well, the next thing I was going to do was put the piston in here. But I was thinking we got to be able to easily turn our crank back here so we can get everything lined up. So let's get our sleeve out of here, out of this bag here with our carburetor. We got a gasket, two of these flywheel bushings. And let's get one flywheel, just the flywheel itself mounted. And we're going to want, sorry guys, this counterweighted section here. See that? And it's lightened here. We're going to want that away from our crank. Sorry guys, not our crank, but our connecting rod. So we'll slide this here on here, get her lined up. We'll bolt one flywheel on, just so that way we have a nice, big, easy hand wheel to be able to manipulate things with. I'll get some of these bolts started, and they're going to be the 2mm long, or 6mm long, number 2s. We'll get 3 of these out. I'll get this put on. I'll get this spun back around. You guys can see it from the front, and that'll be about it. So, all right, show you guys here in just a second. So, there. We've got all 3 of these tight. We are attached, and you guys can see it or not. This is our back throw. Counterweight is on this side, and I can show you on this one. See how this is cut away and lightened a little bit? That is on our connecting rod side, as you can see here. See how we got everything lined up? None of this is going to be permanent, but we want it to be close. And just with one flywheel, that little bit of work we did back here, guys, we're going to be just fine. Yeah, I like it. Before you guys say anything about it not being bored straight back here, check that. Clean up the machining. That's all it could be. So, all right. Well, we're good to go on that. Let's grab our piston. There you go. Brand new. Appears that it's never been ran. One thing that I'm not particularly excited about. There's no oil holes drilled in here to oil the big end. And if you guys have ever seen a full scale, usually there's a piston hole right here. So that way our oil from here can run down. Also lubricate the cylinder and the rings. Some of it can drip down and hit that wrist pin too. Still kind of up in the air whether or not we're going to go that route, but we'll put it together just the way the factory intended. We'll see where we end up with. One thing that I did really appreciate was, look guys, replaceable bearing inserts. That's nice. All right, we'll set them back here. Get the cap off. We're going to oil the, well, oil as much this up as we feel necessary. And we'll get our rod slip back in. Get our bushings put on. Snug it down. We'll just roll it over a little bit. Make sure we have everything running nice and smooth. Free range. Because, well, another reason why we put this one on, all the work that we need to do when it comes to the timing and whatnot, it's on this side. So by having one on over here, we can manipulate and move it. Still be able to see exactly what's going on. So, all right. Well, I will stop jabbering on. Start getting this put together. Okay. Well, I did oil up our piston. Well, down in here. And you guys can see where it says written. I did mark the bottom side. Also, I did mark the bottom side of our connecting rod. So that way we know we have these lined up. Make sure we get plenty of oil in here. I wiped our cylinder out. Oh, would you know that? Look at that. Comes in from the back side, guys. A little bit backwards on this. I figured it'd come in from the front, just like virtually everything else. I was mistaken. All right, we got our piston in. I will get a little bit of silicone grease to hold our bearing insert. We'll get him slid in, get the rod cap on. We'll spin her over, see where we end up. Okay, well, let's get our bearing inserts put in. I was looking at these. Hopefully this thing will focus. You guys can see. See this little tab right here? That's to keep this bearing from rotating inside of there. It'll rotate on the inside, keep our bearing from turning. So far, guys, I've been highly impressed with this kit. It's just, well, you guys have seen some of the other ones that we've done, we've taken apart, and yeah, the quality on this one here is much, much nicer. It's a little bit larger. It's easier for somebody with big, dumb, stupid fingers like these to get in and work on it. So if you're on the fence, well, hey, go for it. I mean, if you were thinking about it and wanted to see how well it was made, so far I've got no complaints, but we're not into it very far. That's subject change. But so far as to where I'm at now, absolutely, guys, I like this one. That seems well engineered, and I don't really see any issues. All right, once again, I'll stop babbling, put our mark side down. We'll get this attached. Okay, we'll get these snugged in. Plenty of lube. I can see it squishing out in the top. It's not even tight yet. And no, I don't know what the torque spec is, but click. Click. All right. Let's see what we got. Nice. Guys, this feels good. Very nice. All right, well, I'll tell you what, guys. We'll let this sit right here for tonight. I've taken up enough of your time, and you give me enough of your attention. So we'll let this sit here. Next one, we'll get our cam in. We'll keep moving on it. So, hey, thank you guys so very much for watching. You guys are fantastic. Hopefully you enjoy this one. And, well, maybe this will get some of you guys to come out there and say, you know what? I bet you I can build one of them. A man built it, a man can fix it. So if you build this one, you can do it yourself. All right. Hey, thanks again for watching, guys. You're fantastic. If you're not subscribed, click right here. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a day or two.